the latest in a series of polls that spell bad news for the Obama administration. And joining me now from Los Angeles with analysis is pollster and the president of the Word Doctors, the one and only Frank Luntz. Frank, welcome back. Good to see you.
Thank you, Sean.
All right, before we get to some very specifics that we're going to put up on the screen for our audience, this is one thing the Gallup poll shows. The American people now believe, this is after this is passed, by a 10% margin, 44-34, that this is going to hurt the economy. They believe 55 to 29 it will hurt the overall quality of health care in America, and that it will increase the federal deficit 61-23. Well, that seems to be a massive defeat on the issues for Obamacare. Is it going to have an impact?
It's going to have an impact. Look, there's certain numbers, and if those of you who are taking notes at home, the biggest concern that the American people have, and this is work that we've done over the past few weeks, the number one issue in terms of what frightens Americans about the economy is spending, the deficit, and the debt. And it's by 3-1 the American people think this health care bill is going to increase all of those, and it's going to cause a lot of economic pain in the future, not just in the present.
Yeah.
Second thing that the public absolutely says is that it cannot afford any more taxes, and it's going to punish anybody who tries to raise taxes. So now connect that to the data that you showed of the Gallup poll, where 50% want him replaced, would not vote for him. Any president this early in the administration, he hasn't even gone through 2 years yet, that doesn't have a clear majority that want him reelected is clearly in trouble. And when that percentage that actually would not vote to reelect him goes above 50%, then you know you've got something very significant.
Yeah, these numbers to me are staggering. I mean, hurt the economy, a 10-point gap. Literally hurt the quality of care, we're talking 55-29. Increase the deficit 61-23, Frank. I mean, it seems to me that the debate was won by the conservatives in this case. You know what I mean? But yet they decided to go against the will of the American people. I know we keep saying that, but I don't think this is going away based on the intensity that I'm seeing from the Tea Party movement and elsewhere.
The communication battle was won by the conservatives. The policy, obviously, was won by the left, because that's why there's health care reform. But I'll tell you, Sean, there's one question. If you wanted to boil it all down to one simple question about this health care bill that will make a difference in how people evaluate it, simple. Who's going to pay for it? If you notice, in the discussion over the last 4 months, everything was about all the benefits of the bill. Nobody talked about who was going to pay for it. And when they find out that it's every American taxpayer, I can tell you that by the time they get to November, there are going to be a lot more angry people than there are today.
All right, let's throw up on the screen for our audience this bar graph that we have here, because a lot of people, obviously the economy is the biggest part of people. Now, if you look there, for example, the blue equals the total, and, for example, on the right side in the white, those are swing voters. So, for example, not another dime in new taxes, 63% total surveyed say not another dime. They agree. 54%, those are swing voters, they agree. Look at these across the board. Neutral, for example, in that particular one category, total swing voters, those that disagree. Most people kind of agree by almost 75%. They don't want to pay any more in taxes. Now I think Charles Krauthammer wrote a great piece. We're probably looking at a value-added tax or a national sales tax. We know that we're going to have to pay for this somewhere, so this is going to happen in spite of what people want, right?
Sean, let me simplify this. In times of recession, Americans do not believe that they can afford to pay any more. They're already struggling. They're already having trouble at the end of the week. They're still nervous about their jobs. They don't think they're going to get a pay increase. And then Washington is asking them to pay even more in taxes. And what frightens Americans still further is that they know that if their boss, if their business, small, medium, or large, gets a tax increase, they know that it's going to affect them in their pocketbook. And what that statistic showed is that the American people say, enough already. We can't afford any more.
It's funny because with all the demonization that's going on with big business, let's go back to that first chart that we just put up for our audience here, because I think this is very revealing in this sense that the biggest concern for our economic future, 50%, if you look, they're saying government spending. They're not demonizing big business out there in these polls. 26% is lack of jobs, but a lot of that is related to the how government is running the economy, the deficits, the debt, the burdensome regulation that they put on people. What does that mean? Go ahead.
It's one of the reasons why the public has lost faith and trust in Congress. They now have a 19% job approval. It's one of the reasons why they've lost faith in Washington and in government overall. It's because they believe that Washington is spending their children and their grandchildren's future. And the one thing that we require, and this goes back to Thomas Jefferson, our founding father, the thing that government should do the least is to make life more difficult for the next generation. It is the responsibility that... Sorry, go ahead, Sean.
Well, I'm listening to you, and I think this is interesting because it ties into the first segment that we had with Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann, and that is not only they going against the policies that the American people want, but on top of that, then they're attacking the American people as angry and bitter and extreme and racist and all these other charges, un-American and Tim McVeigh wannabes. So the question I have for you as a pollster is, what are the political consequences? What's the fallout here for these politicians?
The fallout come November is an advantage for the GOP of about 5 or 6 points because they're much more motivated. They want to come and they want to participate. But what's even more important, Sean, is the fallout for this country. I can't conduct a focus group and not have people treat each other with disrespect and incivility. It is very hard for me now to conduct my business and listen without people treating each other so horribly. The tone of Washington, D.C. is becoming the tone of all of America, and that is the most frightening thing of all. And those people in D.C. ought to pay attention because they're doing a lot of damage out here with the American people.
Is 5 or 6 points that you're referring to, is that enough for the Republicans to take back Congress in your view?
It is enough for the GOP to win 6 to 8 seats in the Senate, and it is enough for the GOP to win 30 or more seats in the House. And if you get that wave going, as we saw both in 2006 and 1994, you have to show that the Republicans do have an outside shot of winning the House.
All right. I hope it's a little better than an outside shot. But Frank Luntz, appreciate you being with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
And let not your heart be troubled. When we come back, our great